Hi, Michael.
Hey, how's it going? If it's just you, me, and Aaron, this will be quick.
Very fast meeting.
You're coming in on 2 sounds, so
I'll
Bill's
fix it.
gotta
I'll fix
fix
it.
that.
I'll fix it.
Hello, hello. I think we'll get a quorum pretty quickly, or not a quorum, a majority, huh? Right? I agree.
Yeah, I'm ready to vote. Whatever you need.
We don't
Exactly.
have anything to vote on. It's
I
a
know.
shame.
Whatever it is, I'm in favor of it.
Exactly. Motion to adjourn now.
Let's railroad something. You know, I wanted to get rid of the double meeting in the spring, and I couldn't get enough people to get behind that.
Aaron, what's that an image of?
What do you mean? Isn't it just me? No?
No, you're not there. It's some kind of
3
graphic.
circles, 3 red
Oh,
circles.
I thought I just changed it. I don't know why it didn't come through. It's my company logo. So my Zoom on my laptop is through my company. Because I do presentations all the time, and so that's just our corporate logo. But I thought I clicked on the button to change it, and who knows? Who knows?
Anyway, that's my professional headshot of giving a present.
Yeah, I tried putting my headshot in, but
How about that? A little more colorful? All right, we're up to 3 Avis. I think that's a quorum of Avis. Oh, good, Mike. I'm glad we can make an example out of you. Please, everybody, type your full name so that we know who you are for attendance purposes. Even if you're a member of the board and a speaker at this meeting, Mike. Thank you. Josh gets mad at me if I don't remind people of that.
You stopped me when I was beat me. I was about to put it into the chat.
Well, you can still put it in the chat. More people will come.
I'll put in the chat in a minute or two.
All right. Speaking of which, some people are ahead of me here on typing your name in. Beautiful. All right, let's see. And that's 20 people. We have a quorum for a meeting that doesn't have any voting. So it's 8:03 and we always have a slow start. More people will come, but I don't want to waste anyone's time. Hi, I'm Michael Gerber. I'm the president of Young Israel of Sharon. And we are required by our bylaws to have a meeting in December where we update the community on what's going on. We have no special topics today. It's a wonderful thing. I'm excited if we can get through this meeting without talking about COVID, and that's my goal. But if you have a question about that at the end, you can still ask it and I won't be upset. Anyway, I'd really like to focus today on some updates. We have a financial update. We have the results from the post Yomim Noraim survey. Thank you to all of you who filled it out. And then we're going to get updates from many of our subcommittees about a lot of the exciting things that are going on in the shul and things that we have planned for the spring. I hope this is fun for everybody. And at the end, we'll have time for questions that you'll be able to ask us, and we'll try to answer them. I am now going to, as only 4 of us have chosen to show our faces, you won't mind if I put up a PowerPoint slide. That looks like this, I think. Now, since I'm not as familiar with whatchamacallit, the free Google Slides, can everyone see that full screen? Someone tell me. Yes, great. So that'll be easier to read. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute to thank all of the wonderful volunteers who have worked very hard on our board so far this year. A lot of people, I know I'm often the face of the organization, and the rabbi is, well, really the face of the organization, but nothing would happen if it wasn't for all these folks who do a whole lot. I'm not going to say all their names, but every person listed here has put in countless hours to make sure everyone else has the most positive experience possible in our shul. And I thank all of them. We're doing a great job, and I look forward to working with you for the rest of the year. So thanks everyone who contributes in such a meaningful way. I kind of already mentioned what the agenda was. This is where we're going today. And the first step up, we should always start our meetings with words of Torah. And I'd like to ask Rabbi Cheses to share some thoughts.
Thank you, President Gerber. I love the upbeat and jolly tone of the meeting thus far this evening. I hope I can sustain that energy. I wanted to share a reflection based on an awesome gathering that transpired last night, the first ever Young Israel networking event that left me really glowing with the powerful potential that our community has to do good for each other in a really concrete and measurable way. And the connection I want to make is to a turning point in Jewish history of forgetfulness. And that takes the form of early on in Parshat Shemot, as we start the 2nd book of the 5 books this Shabbat. Vayakam melech chadash al Mitzrayim asher lo yada et Yosef. A new king arises who doesn't know Yosef. And we're familiar with Rashi, who cites the dispute or debate between Rav and Shmuel. Was this a new king because the old king had died and the new king really did not know of this Yosef figure? Or was this a king who decided that he was going to be ungrateful and intentionally forget Yosef? So that is the dispute between Rav and Shmuel, and I think it's a little bit academic as to whether or not it was a new king or not, because even if it was a new king, it would have been infeasible or unfeasible for somebody to not recognize the individual who saved the economy, the Egyptian economy, from crashing just years earlier. So whether it was the same person who was directly involved with Yosef or whether it was his son or successor, it seems like there had to have been some very strategic forgetting here. Indeed, Rashi says, Asa atzmo ki'ilu lo yad'o. He made himself as if he didn't know Yosef. Of course, he knew who Yosef was, but he made himself extremely ungrateful to Yosef's contributions, because only by doing so would he be able to enslave Yosef's grandchildren. So I wanted to just acknowledge that this is really the turning point between the Jews doing well in Egypt and the Jews not doing well in Egypt. The simple act of forgetfulness or ungratitude. And contrast that with Moshe, whose story we first begin to uncover in Parshat Shmot as well. And when he is hesitant or reluctant to take on the role of redeeming the Jewish people, he goes back and forth with God 5 times at the burning bush. And the Midrash says, why was Moshe so hesitant? Okay, maybe he was humble. But the Midrash says is that he didn't want to leave behind his father-in-law Yitro, who took him in when he was desperate. He had such profound gratitude to his father-in-law that he almost turned down the job, or tried to turn down the job that God was giving him, because he felt a debt of gratitude to his father-in-law. So these contrasting personalities of Paro, the paradigm of ingratitude, and Moshe, the paradigm of profound gratitude, go to war with each other. And the reason why this Dvar Torah connects back to the experience I had last night was because one of the individuals who was part of the group of 30 plus that gathered on Zoom for an hour for speed networking, we almost called it speed dating, but I had to veto that. Not on my watch, speed networking. One of the individuals said that he is approaching retirement, and it is his privilege to be able to pass on his network to people who would benefit from it. And that comment really struck me as so much in keeping with the legacy of Moshe, someone who has profound gratitude for the good that was given to them and feels obliged to do something good to pass it along to others as well. That's the anti-Paro. That's the emulation of Moshe. And so I just wanted to appreciate that we are trying this new networking group, and appreciate specifically Sharona Sternberg, Michael Delman, and Stuart Hirsch, who are championing the cause, and encourage all of us to leverage our networks and our relationships to be grateful for the good that was given to us by passing it along to others. That's it.
Shkoch, thank you, Rabbi. Good job setting the tone. All right. So now I'd like to invite our treasurer to give us an update on the shul's financial situation.
Good evening. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Rabbi Cheses. I seem to always go after Dvar Torah, but I'll try to keep the energy up and the positivity up, and maybe we'll try to do the speed financial update tonight. So the good news is, hopefully continuing the theme, is that we're sort of a little bit back to normal on the financial side and not needing to talk as much about pandemic or COVID related financials as we did the last few times I got to talk to this group, which is fantastic. So kind of I just wanted to get right to the chase. So the 2 key takeaways are really, at this point in the year through November 30th, we're on track relative to what we had budgeted. Just to remind everyone, the synagogue's fiscal year goes from July 1st to June 30th. So through November 30th, we were on track relative to the budget, which is great news. And then I also just wanted to highlight that one of the things that really helped us on the income side was the realization of PPP income for the forgiveness of our round 2 second loan, which again was a one-time income benefit that really helped us out a lot on the income side. And kind of as we look forward to 2022, 2023, we'll have some work to do to kind of replace that on the income side. Michael, if you want to go to the next slide, that would be awesome. So I was just going to quickly go over some of the summaries on the income side. So again, good news, high holiday income, which is a little bit of an unknown coming into the high holidays, was slightly above budget. So we got more income than we were expecting. And it was also in line with income levels pre-COVID. Dues come in over the course of the year, but based on what we've collected so far and what we're projecting through the rest of the fiscal year, we should be on track to hit the budgeted amount, which again, we really very much appreciate everyone's generosity there. The donations and fundraising, as often happen, we project again for the full year. They're kind of not quite on pace yet for where we want to be, though they usually do pick up a lot in December, especially kind of over the next week or two before year end, and then continue, especially on the fundraising side over the later part of the year. So again, overall on track there, but just kind of a little bit more income to be realized on dues, donations, and fundraising. And then Michael, if you can go on to the next one, we can talk about expenses a little bit. Again, the expenses are pretty much in line with what we had budgeted. And I'm going to word this one carefully so I don't cause us any problems for the rest of the fiscal year. But year to date, the building related expenses have been within budgeted amounts this year, which has also helped us reach our goals so far year to date. So again, just a quick high level summary. Again, the 2 key takeaways are we're on track year to date. And a big driver of that was the PPP loan forgiveness, which really helped us out on the income side and is something we will not have next fiscal year 22-23. And that is it for the financial update. Happy to take any questions if we're doing that, or if we're saving it to the end, that is fine as well. Thank you again.
I think if someone has a pressing question about this, we can take it. Put it in the chat, please. Great, you're off the hook. You can still ask questions at the end too if you think of one later. All right, I'd now like to call on our Director of Inclusion, Zach Homa, who did a lot of work taking the pulse of the community after the Yamim Narayim.
All right, thank you, Michael. And we had a good response. We had 75 total responses to the survey. There were approximately about, I guess, 5 or so families where, there were, I guess, each person in the household responded, but otherwise, it was usually just one person from each household who responded to the survey. So we can take a look at the results. The first is, I guess the print is a little bit small, but the colors are for the past 2 years. So 2019 is blue, 2020 is in orange, and then 2021 is in gray. And on the left is, we asked our questions in terms of how people rated their experience on a scale of 1 to 5 for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur on the left, and then Sukkot and Simchat Torah on the left. And our experience this year was rated highly and consistent with the previous 2 years. Go on to the next slide. We asked a few other specific questions. We asked about children's programming. We rated a little bit lower this year compared to last year. We asked people how they felt about our COVID protocols and security protocols, and that rated highly. We asked people about how they felt about the logistics and whether it was clear in terms of how things were to be done, and that also rated highly. And then our last question was about materials shared, and that too also rated highly, similar to last year. Now, in addition to that, there were many specific comments with regards to many of these categories. With regards to the davening, many people expressed appreciation to the rabbi and the Gabayim and all of the leadership. Many appreciated that the davening in general, although some felt that there was something lacking in the tefillah this year. I think related to the COVID restrictions. There were some suggestions to announce end times in addition to start times. And also this year we experimented with having a Rosh Hashanah minyan that started much later, but it wasn't well attended. And many people commented that it was unlikely, or that we probably unlikely to succeed going forward. With regards to Sukkot and Simchat Torah, there was much appreciation for having the Hakafot this year outdoors in the tent. Although there were some complaints that the women's section was lacking, and also that the Banot were not instructed to participate with the women's dancing, especially on the night of. With regards to children's programming, we did rate lower this year compared to last year. There were many comments about what was perceived to be a lack of programming, especially on Simchat Torah. And with regards to COVID, it's worth noting that a substantial number of members expressed ongoing concern for COVID and the need to maintain protocols that ensure the safety for everyone. Many requested that all members of the shul continue to comply with our protocols, including wearing masks indoors and respecting the seating areas that were marked as socially distanced. Many noted that they were concerned about the lack of distancing during Hakafot, as well as the lack of masks. People commented that there were, especially in the tent, there were areas that were marked as requiring masks, but over the course of the Yamim Noraim, those chairs all got mixed up and it didn't really remain consistent. And on the flip side, there were also some who were frustrated that, in some ways the protocols may have been, too burdensome, especially for toddlers, and people kind of being told, please have your toddler wear a mask. And it was, clearly not very feasible. And then lastly, on to the last section here, with regards to materials, there's much appreciation in particular for the children's materials. 2 years ago, we did put together a booklet of Divrei Torah written by the shul membership, which we did not do this year, and many did ask if we can continue to do that going forward. Now, the last topic is with regards to the tent. And we asked a specific question about whether or not people would want to have a tent for next year. The tent this past year was rented. And with regards to this specific question, we had 60 who responded that yes, they would want to continue having the tent. And we had 11 respond that they would not want to have the tent going forward and incur the extra expense. And there were 4 who didn't include that in their survey response. And
Zach, just to clarify that point, this question, if I remember correctly, was about the tent for Simchat Torah, right? Extending it for the entire duration of the Chagim. Is that correct? Do you recall?
I don't specifically recall.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. I thought it was geared more towards the beyond Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, also for Simchat Torah and Sukkot, but I might be mistaken on that.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
That's okay. And then we had a lot of specific comments with regards to the tent. I think most of the comments that we had were with regards to the tent. Many said that they enjoyed davening outdoors. The layout of the outdoor tent minyan with the men and women's section being side by side was very much appreciated by many of the members who felt that it was a more inclusive type of layout. Many families with kids felt like it was easier to have their kids kind of coming in and out of the tent. Although there was, and then the last comment was just that I think there was one particular day that was where there was very heavy rain, and just noting that it would be helpful to have somewhat of a backup plan, should that kind of bad weather event occur again, should we continue using a tent.
Next year, we'll have to skip Tfilat Gashem.
And that's it for the survey.
Thank you, Zach. And I just to make clear to everyone, we do take all of this very seriously, and we actually looked at a more detailed version of this at the board level, and where things are actionable, we try to respond. Sometimes stuff takes longer than I would like, but please be aware that we do take everyone's sincere comments to heart and try to do the best we can to deliver the best we can for our members. All right. Thank you, Zach. The next set of topics are what we call the subcommittee updates. And I asked any of the subcommittees who wanted to talk to the membership, let them know what was going on, could speak. And some of them said, yes, we had to drop someone today because they're not feeling well. I won't say who it is because I don't want to embarrass them, but we'll see. Anyway, first off, I don't think that Danny is here. So I don't know, Debbie, do you want to go through this, or do you want, or maybe I will. I don't know if Debbie's here either. Wow. So we have 19 new families. That's a lot. And we're very excited to have them. We had really our membership committee put together a really spectacular new member brunch at the Rabbis earlier in the fall, and couldn't believe how many people there are. And we tried to keep the board updated. I guess my ask to everyone would be try to find the face you don't know and go over and say hello. And this is the first time I can remember having 4 pages of new members. It's pretty exciting. And y'all can read, but wow, we got the Abirs, the Axelbaums, the Brodersons, the Gilmans. Some of these people even live on my street. It's amazing. Hold on. Who else we got? Oh, the Kurtzes. I don't know if you heard, they just had a baby. They're up on Main Street. The Parrottses, instrumental in making veggie crust kosher. So those are good people to know. Pollack Smith, the Sapirs, sort of related to folks in town. Wonderful. We got the Shores, and the Slutskys, and the Steinbergs, and the Sussmans. And the last two, if you've been to shul in the last 3 months, you've probably heard one of these guys lead davening and been like, wow, that's a nice voice. When did we get that here? And now you know. So nice adds to the community. And then I don't know how to say their name, but they're from Atlanta and they're very nice.
Zagi.
And, Zagi, thank you. And then a few folks that we didn't have pictures of, but it's a beautiful thing that people are coming in and we're adding. Ooh, Tzipora Klinger, that name sounds familiar. I wonder if there's a relation. I'll have to find out. Anyway, we want to welcome all of our members, all of our new members. And I know that as things open up, and other rabbis talked about this a bit, we have to practice our muscle of hospitality. And it's hard, but it's try to reach out to some of these folks. I know it's not branch out Sabbat was a lot of fun. We got to have 2 of the new families at our table, and I recommend to other people to get that up to do that. So that's membership. What's next? Oh, youth and family. They are so busy planning youth and family programming that they didn't have time to make a slide, but I'm told that either Lisa or Daniel, or maybe both of them, are going to say a few words.
I guess I'll do it. So at the start of the end of last school year, we were able to, thank God, resume our in-person Shabbos groups for kids. And it's been going really well. We for our youngest kids, and then we have 2 other groups for the older kids. So there's one group for our K through 2nd graders, and then another group for our 3rd through 5th graders. And as before, these groups are led by our teens, which has been going really well. And then in addition to our Shabbos groups, we were able, thank God, to do some in-person programming, which has been really great. The latest one was we were able to have the family Hanukkah party. We had a huge turnout, which was amazing. And we were able to do it indoors and outdoors. So we kind of were able to accommodate a lot of different people. And we're hopeful we'll be able to have some more in-person programming, like our Purim Carnival, or like some degree of it. And yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Lisa. We're real excited about the work you've done. I know this is a small sample size, but the young people that live in my house enjoy groups more now than ever in the past. So they actually want to go to shul, which is a nice change of pace. So thank you to you and to Daniel for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Oh, David, you want to say something? This is an exciting slide.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Mark your calendar. We are having the annual Young Israel of Sharon fundraiser on Sunday, May 22nd. It's going to be a hybrid model of what happened last year and trying to do some kind of semi-formal program. And by semi-formal, it does not mean in the dress, it means in the formality of the program. So think dessert reception, think scotch tasting, think chocolate fountain, think honorees, think recognizing people who do great things for the synagogue and having fun. And if you have kids of age that you'd like to leave them somewhere, there'll be activities for them to be occupied while you enjoy yourself and the rest of the events in the evening. So you'll be hearing about this between now and May several times. Please support the synagogue generously. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David. And we're going to be coy now because we try not to say too much about our fundraiser while Shas is running their fundraiser. But once they're done, we can say more. And I love, isn't this great? People liked the carnival, but people also said to us they wanted something that was a little more adult focused. Somehow found a way to try to do both. So this is exciting. Hopefully something for everyone to look forward to. All right. So Sharon Lerner didn't want to speak, but she did want me to tell you that the Chesed Committee is up for anything. And that if anybody has any thoughts, ideas, or issues that you don't think are being addressed, to please reach out to her and her team. They really pivoted very well over the last year and a half, dealing with very different kinds of issues, a lot related to the pandemic. And they want to be supportive. And that's all I can say about that. Can't thank the Chesed Committee enough. I, for the first time, had to be on the receiving end due to some unfortunate hospitalizations in my house this year. And it was such a warm feeling to know that the community was supporting us and helping us. And I know that everyone who receives help feels that way as well. So if you have any ideas or you know of anyone who's in need that we're not aware of, please reach out. And finally, another save the date, this one closer. I'm happy to announce that on January the 29th will be the exciting return of the Cholent Cook-Off, our 5th annual-ish event. Our chefs have had 2 years to prepare. Rabbi Cheses, if you enter, that will not be enough for you to compete. But everyone else, I'm sure, will be bringing their A game. And we may have to stand outside in a snowbank to eat the cholent, but heck, that'll be part of the fun. It'll be very like old school shtetl, but we're looking forward to it, and more details on this will follow as well. If you think you'd like to cook and participate, please reach out to either me or Adam Rhodes. Thank you so much. All right, so we've got some things to look forward to. We've covered some ground. It's great that we don't have a crisis to deal with this year at this meeting. And so hopefully it was informative to folks. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. I'll give you a few minutes. Otherwise, if you're wondering, I'm standing in front of the the Massapog Brook, which is right down the street from my house right here in Sharon. Obviously, this picture was taken not today, but we live in a beautiful place. I hear it's a better place to live because it's naturally beautiful. And if there are no questions, I'm going to end the meeting on that terrible joke. So that'll teach you for not asking something. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. We look forward to an exciting 2022. Things can only get better from here.
Michael, thank you for a peppy, upbeat, and just strong meeting. It was fun and informative, and thanks for keeping the energy strong. Laila Tov, everyone.
Thanks.
That was a record, Michael.
Josh, I can't see the chat when I'm doing the share screen. So I didn't
You told
see
people to put it into the chat. I figured you didn't want
the
to.
question.
What?
The rabbi's here. You can ask him.
I was going to ask if there are any updates on Red Lentil.
Oh, that's important. I've been in there a lot. I went in there today, and they are still very interested in KVH, but not surprisingly, they're just overwhelmed by opening up a new branch, which is much larger than their first branch. And so they're just trying to stay afloat based on the demand. It's been so hectic and just chaotic there. So it's been hard to get their attention to try and get a meeting with the KVH to go through their menu. But I did get a copy of their updated menu today, and I was able to convince them to hire a college kid from our community to work at the restaurant, just as, you know, bussing tables and in the kitchen, which could evolve into being a working mashgiach role. So that was sort of a little bit of a creative strategy that I'm trying out. We'll see. I hope he's a good worker, because it could backfire. But I think he's going to start tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's where things stand. I went through their menu today, and there's like almost nothing that would have to be replaced. So it's the major hurdle is just washing, you know, leafy vegetables. So that's where the line of scrimmage is going to be when I finally get KVH and the owner back to the negotiating table.
Thank you for your efforts.
I'm trying, but we'll see where it goes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you both for a fantastic meeting. Michael, you led the way wonderfully, as always. Had a great tone from the beginning and wove a nice thread throughout. So, kol hakavod.
Thank you.
Josh, I did see that you said something to me privately about the question.
You were right about the language of the of that question.
Okay, that's what I recollected. But right now, I don't think we're going to be buying a tent anyways. But I think it will be relevant when we think about the dates for our, you know, contract for our rental. Come, I don't know, April or May. We learned from this year that we can't drag our feet. We have to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Yeah, it was so nice not to have a pandemic or a shooting to talk about. All right.
Agreed.
Just for you, Michael.
Thank you. I earned it, right? That's the
yeah. Okay, Laila Tov to you both.
All right, I'm gonna go talk to Adam about the joint cook-off.
Sounds good.
Good
Okay,
night.
bye.
See you.